Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Sammons, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind successful startups, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we're joined by Milli Fox, a manifestation mentor, speaker, and coach dedicated to helping women turn trauma into empowerment and making manifestation a ground practical practice. Through her Master of Manifestation community and Satisfaction Manifestation Masterclass, Millie combines mindset, energetics, and accountability steps to help women embody their desire and create the life and business they dream of without the fluff or bypass approach often seen in the industry. So, Millie, very warm welcome to Founders Future. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Amazing, amazing. So with all my guests, I like to start at the beginning of the journey. So what was it that you was doing beforehand? And then what inspired you to start up the manifestation coaching and Milli Fox?
Honestly, this was a lifelong pathway to where I'm at now. When I was probably about 8 years old, I decided that I wanted to help people. I wanted to become a psychologist at that point because my
Oh,
parents were going through a divorce and I wanted to help them. And my mom was going through a lot of struggles, mental health and addiction wise. And I did take that path. I went to school for psychology, and my plan was to go all the way through. But as I was in my undergrad degree, I just felt like it was so textbook.
okay.
The things I was learning just felt really removed from human experience. And I couldn't continue on that path. So I took a little bit of a detour after I finished university. I went into wellness, personal training, nutrition, because I got myself right in that regard when I was in my late teens, early 20s. And it had such an impact on my mental health. So I pursued that for a while. But then it just brought me right back around to the whole idea of like mindset, success, life coaching, wanting to help people take advantage of the best possible life that they could live
Yeah.
in this incarnation, if you believe in that, which I definitely do. But yeah, it was a lot of suffering that I witnessed, a lot of chaos that I witnessed. My mom was a beautiful woman. She was vibrant, she was expansive, and I watched the light get sucked out of her till unfortunately, eventually she did pass away a few years ago from all the struggles that she had, but I wanted to rewrite the story. I wanted to help other women escape that kind of trap that a lot of us fall into as women because of society. And maybe it's not as drastic as what happened to my mom. Any version of that, I want to help women prevent.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. And as a personal note to me, to you, very similar to my story. So
Mhm.
I can very much appreciate where you're coming from and see it from a side that's very much empathetic. But I
Mhm.
do want to dive in a little bit more to the business
Yeah.
and maybe we can touch on some things after that. So walk me through who is your ideal customer? And then from there, what is it that you do with them and how do you work through the offer?
Yeah, basically, my client is a high achieving woman. Most of the time, she's entrepreneurial or she is in corporate and maybe wants to escape. She is a perfectionist. She's super hard on herself and she gets into these spirals of shame and she gets into a lot of resistance and just ties herself up from the success that she knows that she's meant for.
Yeah.
And the offer that I have is it's a course. I have a system of like a five-step process that I work with women through either on a one-to-one or on a group level.
Nice.
And they go through this system of, first of all, identifying what's going on with manifestation. So we debunk it because it really is the farthest thing away from woo, but I do still maintain the spiritual aspects of the process. And then we go into nervous system because a lot of times women with this high achieving A type have a really fried nervous system. So we need to understand, and again, like it's such a buzzword, the nervous system regulation
Yep.
stuff these days. So we break it down into what are the foundations of that. And then we go into the identity work. I break down that big question of who am I and help women answer that for themselves so that they can have a strong relationship with themselves. And then we go into desire, which is usually where most manifestation practices start, right? So we do all the pre-work before we get into the desire, and then we look at what's getting in the way, where's the resistance coming up, what do we need to do about all of that, and then we go into action. So it's very smooth step-by-step process that prevents the forcing, the faking, the white knuckling, all of those things that a perfectionistic woman can get into when she's trying to either just goal achieve from a success-based mindset or using energetics and spirituality and manifestations. Like, how can I be super perfect and check off all the boxes and
Yeah.
where it feels like a job and then it's not actually accomplishing what they're wanting to accomplish with it.
Yeah. Do you find there's a lot of women that kind of on board with a lot of resistance, or is that one thing that you don't like to work with from the get-go?
Resistance to manifestation or
Yeah, just to the practice itself and opening themselves up, because sometimes it can be hard to let go of those feelings inside and moving on that it's the right thing. So do you work through people that provide persistent resistance to what you're encouraging them with as well?
it totally
Or
depends on the level of resistance or why they
yeah,
have it, I would say. But I do encounter that a lot where people are like, oh, I'm just so wary about manifestation. I don't know if I really believe in it. And I break it down for them and I'm just like, do you have goals? They're like, yes. I'm like, do you believe that having the right mindset and attitude and the way you show up every day contributes to you achieving those goals? They're like,
right.
yes. I'm like, okay, then you do believe in manifestation. Let's go.
Exactly. There you go. You've been doing it your whole life. Come on, I'll teach you how to do it.
You
I love
literally do it every
it.
day. Yeah. It's whether you're being intentional about it or not. Simple
Love
as
it.
that. Yeah.
And so, in terms of the back end of the business, marketing, acquiring customers, and the sales process, are you the one that's covering all of that, or do you have a team that work with you as
I do
well?
have a team. Yeah, I
Nice.
do have a team. I have a virtual assistant and I have someone who does chat behind the scenes
Oh,
in
cool.
different platforms and helps me in the DMs and things like that. And I have a few other people who are in and out on the team for other jobs too.
Awesome. And then, in terms of acquiring customers, what are you finding that's most effective at the moment for yourself in doing so?
Just so long as you have a steady flow of traffic coming in to
Cool.
whatever platform that you have, and then you have a system for knowing what to do with that traffic and not just hoping that they're going to figure it out on their own.
Yeah.
That's been the biggest shift that I've had in my business is I think a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in the spiritual energetic service space, they just think, oh, if you're on my Instagram, you're going to figure out if you want to work with me. And I just don't think that really works very well these days with the massive number of stuff that people
Yeah.
are bombarded with. So,
Stuff is the right word.
yeah.
Definitely. And it's like setting yourself apart from the rest of the stuff that I think is the trick to doing. So then in terms of marketing, I know you're on Instagram and across all the other platforms.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific kind of thing that's working well for you that are open to sharing?
So what I've experimented with have been traffic ads.
Nice.
And also some promotion, so like collaborative promotion on Instagram with other large accounts, like whether that's paid or organic, but just getting a lot of eyes on your stuff.
Okay, cool. And then do you have a nice referral system as well coming through off the back of the coaching?
I would
Did
say yes, I do. I do encounter that quite a lot when I'm in the DMs with people. They say, "Oh, somebody told me to follow you." Yeah. I
Nice.
mean, having quality content is something that's really important too, right? Like you have to be emotionally
100%.
resilient with people and have something that's different about what you're saying and bring your personality into it. And I really strongly believe in the personal brand for sure.
100%. And definitely with putting that online, it builds the trust from the start, especially as you're saying, like, you've got someone in the DMs that's responding and saying they're looking for you, but then it's to really know who they're working with on the back end that you kind of see the connection and the trust that's being built from the personal brand.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And one of the things that I've struggled with is being strategic and still being really authentic. So sometimes I read all the playbooks, I read all of the marketing best practices and this and that, and I digest them, I integrate them, and then I throw them out and just do
yeah.
what I think is the best way, like maybe picking pieces, but knowing that I'm checking off all of the steps from that traffic capture, next steps of either it's a call or it's a DM, voice note chat,
Yeah.
whatever it is, moving them along and knowing that also that I have the offer. Like there's all of those steps in place that you need to have to make the flow feel really easy. And if you don't have all those pieces, I know for a lot of time I was working on each of the pieces and felt like it took so long to come together. Message for anybody who's in that kind of messy experimentation phase, just keep going with it. You'll get the
You'll get there. You
place
definitely will. Or find someone that can help you get there because it's the key to unlocking the magic that moves forward.
for sure.
Um, and then in terms of the end of the funnel, do you have a discovery call set in place? Do you hop on sales calls yourself? How are you finding that process of it?
Yeah, so I did have some people on my sales team for a period of time, and I decided to start taking some calls myself again, just because I found it kept my like finger on the heartbeat of what people were needing and wanting and their problems. So it actually really helps me with content creation and a variety of other things. So
Nice.
I am, but I'm moving away from putting as many people onto calls and switching to sell by chat for some aspects of the business.
Fair enough. And how is that process of pivoting going? Is it paying off or is it too early to tell?
It's really early to tell,
Yeah.
but I think it's going to be a no-brainer the way that I have it set up. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. And then, so what do the next 12 months look like? Are there any specific targets or milestones that you're looking to achieve over the next 12 months?
Yeah, I am really excited to hit the probably 15 to 30K a month mark. And
Nice.
I'd really like to have probably my highest cash month to date within the next 6 months.
That's cool. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I suppose, so we can, in terms of like client numbers, how many clients you currently work with? Are you currently looking to exceed it in any way in that side? I know you have revenue targets, but I don't really want to open them up too much for you if you're not open to talking about it.
Yeah, no, for clients, I'm shifting to one-on-one is one-on-one, but for
Nice.
the group is to really ramp up volume. I'm moving a little bit out of the super high ticket space, more
Okay.
to an affordable, approachable, volume-based kind of strategy because that's what I'm preferring. Like for my own desire, I want to just get out in front of a lot more people, do a lot more speaking, visibility, and grow more as a thought leader and move away from the whole coach identity. So
Okay,
that's what
nice.
I'm focusing on right now.
Nice. And what would you say is the biggest challenge in making that happen at the moment?
I'm currently not feeling challenged by it, to be honest with you. Give me another couple months and then I may run into the inevitable challenges that probably will pop up, but things seem to be falling into place pretty organically for me at the moment with the shift. Yeah, I think when you have a clear pathway in your business and where what the journey is going to be for your client, it just removes so much resistance from the whole thing. And then it's not like you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall and wondering why it's not going to stick. So before, if I had said, yeah, I want to go with a volume-based approach, I just don't think that I was there and it would have been grasping for it and coming up short. But because I've done all of the work in the back end at this point and set up so much, I feel like I have a natural catch.
Nice.
I don't want to call it a funnel,
Yeah.
but it's a funnel.
We've got something there holding them. So yeah, as you said, you've done the groundwork and now you can play around and do exactly what you want to do with the business. It's
Exactly, because
yeah.
for me, it's very natural to speak. It's very natural for me to do guest workshops and get out there and put myself
Yeah.
out there and be visible. I know for a lot of people that makes them really nervous to do that kind of stuff, but it's where I thrive to get online and just be myself. And that's where I feel like most people become interested in what I'm doing when they hear what I have to say and how I approach things differently and whatnot.
Amazing. And I'm sure they do. So in terms of the podcast itself, we're going to shift into a bit of a lightning round just to finish some
Sure.
things. So, what would you say is one tool or resource that has been a big game changer in the business so far?
I really go high level. I really like the CRM. It's overwhelming at first when you start to use it and implement and bring your team into it, but it just has so much capacity and it just really helps with processes and not letting things slip through the cracks and being on the same page as your team.
100% agree with you. It's the optimal organization tool from back end. Like
Yeah.
I've worked it a few times and I love the platform myself as well.
Yeah.
So then if you could go back to a younger self, say 2, 3, 4 years ago, before you started the company, or maybe while you were in the works of doing so, and you could leave her with one bit of advice, what would you say to her?
Mm. I would tell her to just keep checking in with her heart on what feels right and don't stray too far from it because just because somebody says this is what you need to do and what works, the farther you are away from your heart and what feels exciting and good and authentic to you, the less chance it's going to work for you anyways because it's just not going to sit right and then you're going to have resistance to actually showing up to do all the things and it's going to give you like a general ick. So be careful.
Love it.
Just follow your
And
heart.
follow your heart. And then what would be the best piece of advice that you've received about scaling a business?
Keep it simple.
Nice.
Simple scales.
Love
For
it.
sure. All these overthinking, like A-type kind of women, they have a capacity, great capacity for overcomplicating things, which I fall prey to. So keep it simple.
Keep it simple, love it. And then, as a final note before we hop off, to our founders and coaches who are listening, and maybe at just at the start of their journey, what piece of advice would you leave them with to move forward?
It's a combination of the two pieces of advice, one to my former self and one to for scaling, is just keep it simple, keep checking in with what feels authentic to you because integrity is so important for sustainability. Right? And you need to make sure that you're aligned with your values in everything that you do.
Yeah,
And also, there's this concept of the gap versus the gain, which I think is really important for new entrepreneurs, which is the gap is where you are now versus where you think you should be, and the gain is where you are now versus where you were. So,
love it.
to live in the gain rather than the gap because the gap is always moving. It's like trying to reach the horizon. You're never going to get there. And when we move from the gain, it's shifting into a place of gratitude, of abundance, of all of those things. And you're going to have a much better attitude. You're going to
Yeah,
have more opportunities. You're going to be more motivated if you operate from the gain rather than the gap.
absolutely love that. Manifestation advice from a manifestation coach herself. Very much remind me of the cup half full and half empty
True.
outlook on life. Love it.
What we focus on expands.
Exactly that. Thank you so much, Millie, for joining me and sharing your incredible insight and journey with us today. Should people want to reach out and work with you, how can they do?
Best place is Instagram. I know LinkedIn is a hotspot for this podcast, but you can find me on Instagram at Milli Fox, Millifox.
Amazing. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this podcast, please don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we were able to go from zero to 30 million per year in less than 3 years. And until then, keep climbing, and we will see you on the next one.